Well, thank you for having me here. It's not the first time that I'm delivering presentations over here, but this is the first time it's about visual arts. What you see here, directly some pieces of art. Here behind the title you see a piece of land art by Andy Goldsworthy, and it's called River of Earth. And it took me quite some time, but I found out how he did it, and so I repeated his experiment at home, and it worked quite well. It has something to do with the thickness of clay, of course. The layer here is a bit thicker than the rest of it. This one is Claire Pentecost. It was shown in Documenta number 13. It's called Soil Work, and it shows the value of our soil. We all know it, of course, but it has to be. She wanted to bring it to a wider audience. Now, who am I? Until about 3 years ago, I worked here in the team, Mirjam's team, soil, water and land use, and I was mainly busy with the key registry of the Dutch subservice, and that was we provided the key registry with the soil map, the geomorphological map, the groundwater table map, and all the related data. But at the same time, I started with some art education, the new academy in Utrecht. I did not finish it, didn't like the teaching, too old for that. I took many thematic courses, ranging from traditional painting to what I'm doing now is more the 3D, making 3D objects. And you can be quite busy with it. I can tell you. Now the reason that I'm here stems from a series of articles I've written with Theo Edelman. It had to do with our houses of common. You see them every day on television. You see the large piece of art behind the pulpit. All those clay patterns, and it is a work by Jos de Putter, who is not a visual artist. He is a documentary maker, and if you ever had the chance, go and it's on the internet probably. It has been a nice day. Het is een schone dag geweest. It was about the last year of his parents as farmers. It's a beautiful documentary, and why not presenting something like that in the House of Commons? That had to do. They were afraid that art presented by computers on screens can be hacked, and they were afraid of Mussolini's and Hitler's and so on the screen. So they said, no, you're not allowed to do it. And so he changed to visual art. It's not straight, but he just went on, and it's what you see now in the House of Commons. But it had a lot of comments, the artwork, and at some point in time, Theo Edelman was asked, why can't you write something about it? But Theo, he was not into art, so he gave me a call, and the next day half of the article was finished. And it was the start of a series of articles, and all the people here, almost all of the people here, they appear in the series. The first one is over here is Monica Rotgans. I will tell you later about what she is doing. Has produced quite a lot of standard books. Anne van der Linde, a Belgian visual artist who works mainly with coal. This is oh my God. Just forgot the name. She works at Annelies van Loon. She works at the Rijksmuseum. She is a researcher at the Rijksmuseum. She got a lot of very nice equipment, and every soil laboratory should be jealous of the laboratory of the Rijksmuseum. Lonnie van Rijswijk, Nadine Sterk, Atelier NL. Well, Stefan knows them very well. We have visited them a couple of times. They work directly with clay and sands. I'll show it later. And finally, Gert Bulet. He is a glass artist working in Leerdam, and he is mimicking nature, especially agates, and the technique behind it is quite complicated. Now here you have Monica Rotgans. Well, she is one of the experts on pigments. Well, we have Christmas coming, and tomorrow something else, and this is a very affordable book, still available. Most of the museums sell them, and it's not very elaborated, but worthwhile reading. But the real standard work is this. It's about paints, and she shows the whole history of paints over the last 500,000 years. This is not longer available. I saw it on Marktplaats, second hand. It's about 200 euros right now. And she's working on, well, 3 different books. This one is on blue-green. The other one is yellow-red, and we have a white and black one in progress as well, but the problem is getting it financed, as always. Good. What do we see here? This is a region near Adelaide in Australia, and half of the time she lives in the Netherlands, half of the time she lives in Australia. And if she's in Australia, she is collecting materials, well, from these rocks, and if she is at home, she crushes them, sieves them, and makes it into paint. One of the things she addresses is the use of paint in history. This is one from Altamira, Spain. It's about 18,000 years old. This one is in Kimberley, Australia, about 12,000 years old. And this is one of the famous Fayum paintings, about, well, 100 to 300 after Christ. And yeah, it's amazing how they look. If you looked through the whole collection, they were really ahead of time at that point. And then we had, well, the dark Middle Ages, and then we lost all the techniques. Probably it's beautiful to see them. I think they were on display a year ago in Assen or so. Now, well, I saw that the museum has also a large collection of pigments. This is the Kramer set. Don't know whether they are still available, but well, if you look at the Kramer catalog, you can buy almost every color you want and every earth pigment. The disadvantage of Kramer is that they produce very homogeneous pigments, and if you prepare them yourself, it's less homogeneous, but it's much more lively on the canvas. And for some purposes, yeah, that's just yeah, I like it very much. If you are into fine painting, you probably won't like it at all. Now you see the rocks. This one is probably familiar to you. I selected this geological map. It's from the UK because of the colors. They are almost the same as the rocks, And now what you see here is the preparing of the paint. This is probably an oil paint, but you can mix it with other binding material as well, acrylic or water or bee wax if you want to. And now again you see here a lot of earth colors on the palette, and this one is I forgot all his name. Oh yeah, it's Paul Cézanne's Estac, and again you see the same colors appearing on the canvas. Well, preparing paints is a lot of fun, but well, it's also sometimes it's a bit dangerous. There are problems with pigments. Here you see two similar Van Gogh paintings, the irises. This one is made after reconstruction. These are probably the original colors, but well, chemical alternation turns pink into gray. So, and the fun is that some of the writers on these works, they write about the beautiful gray and make whole kind of stories of it, but it was not original, and you see it with a lot of different paintings that well, blue turns into gray, and well, not all of the pigments are as stable as you like it to be. Another problem is toxicity. You see the beautiful green here. It's Schweinfurter green. It contains arsenic, and it's no longer available. And I know that arsenic, or the Schweinfurter green, has been used a lot in tapestry in houses. And if it gets wet or moist, then you get something like arsenic trihydride, and that's quite killing. So a lot of rich people were affected by it, and there were a lot of deaths by the use of this Schweinfurter green. Now it's of course a Van Gogh painting, fortunately no longer available. This one you might know, Vivianite. It's also the 13th pigment of Rembrandt. Why did he prefer Vivianite? Because, well, blue normally in that time was linked to lapis lazuli, but that was terribly expensive. So, and since, well, just as nowadays painters are not very rich, they were looking to alternatives, and well, Vivianite was one of the alternatives. But after 50 years, the blue turns into grey, so it's the end of the story. Now, these are the pigments from the earth, but you have also pigments based on plants. This is meerkrap. Don't know the English one, but it produces. Why? Oké. Ja, maar dan even terug. Ja. Oh, dan pakken we die even, ja. Oké. Ja. Ja, dat kan natuurlijk ook.
Je kunt links en rechts of naar achter even kijken.
Ja, dan gaan we de verkeerde kant op.
Yes.
Ja, that was there. So this was not the red produced by meerkrap is not very color fast, so it disappears as well. Now this one I found on Marktplaats. They are lead fleshing, loodslabben. They used to put them in a bucket, fill it up with horse pee, and waited until the lead oxide was formed. Now this is this for sale at the moment without any warning, because well, lead oxide is quite toxic. and it has been used in the 17th and 18th century for makeup. Don't try that at home, because your skin it's not too healthy for your skin. It's by the way, it's a very beautiful white. Nowadays first it was replaced by zinc white, and now most of the people are using titanium whites. But this produces a nice soft type of white. And preparing is also it's possible, but please, if you ever do it, be careful, because it's a toxic material. Now, this is the work of Monica. As I told you, she lives half of the year in Australia, and all the paints here are used from local material. And except for the blue, which is probably some lapis lazuli origin. The green I don't know, but that it has other origins. And this one was made during the firestorms in Australia. And the black is made from burned material, which he found, which makes it a very authentic and painting, because it's really from that area. Now to Anne van der Linden, but I want to start off with one of my vacations. I was hiking along the Cèze. It's Lozère-Gare region in France. And of course I was walking with my nose down, as soil scientists often do, and I found lots of coal parties. So I thought at first, well, they must have had huge barbecue parties here, but it was too much. But I found out by Infoterre, the French soil information and geological information system, that some 15 kilometers away upstream there were coal mines, and all the material came from coal mines. But I took some of the material home and started off to break it, to grind it, and to make my own paint. But I also visited the internet, and I found out that somebody in Belgium, in Diest, Anne van der Linden, she only works with coal as a material. She lives in the Kempen area. You have the Kempen Basin there, and they had several mine sites over there, 7, I believe, all closed now. But she managed to collect coal from every of these mine sites, and she was in a competition with I come back to it later. There was an English guy, Indian English guy, and he bought the permission to use Vanta Black, which was produced for the defense industry. Anish Kapoor, by the way. Vanta Black. He bought the permission to use Vanta Black in artworks, and nobody else was allowed to use Vanta Black in paintings and so. But then another artist in England, they produced a pink, and on the pink was mentioned to be used by everyone except Anish Kapoor. Now what he did, he had to paint, put his finger in, and produced a picture. But then he challenged the artist community to produce a black even blacker than Vanta Black, and Anne was one of the participants, and she managed to get a black which was blacker than Vanta Black. But then again, Vanta Black changes his production method, gets blacker and blacker and blacker and blacker, and at the end she lost it. But she produces the blackest natural pigment available at the moment. Well, we visited her, and she's also preparing her own paint. Uses some grinding, some sieving. And you see, she makes a lot of different tests, tryouts, and the difference between the blacks is not by the pigment, but by the binder she is using. She's always using acrylic binders, but there are many acrylic binders on the market, and I think she tried them all, and it proved that the coal from Beringen produced the blackest black she can get. Now, not only her paint comes from the coal mines, but also her inspiration. If you ever have the chance to visit Beringen, go there. This is one of the old mine sites, and all the installations are preserved, industrial heritage. Beautiful. We went there with her, and she has been artisan residence in these between these installations for about a year, and as you can see, her inspiration comes also from the mine. So it's to me, these are very truthful paintings. You can see here that she's not only using fine pigments, but she uses also parts of coal, so not totally crushed in her work. Now, you might recognize this XRF, used in soil investigations, most of the time for soil pollution research. And then we come to Annelies van Loon. And by the way, that's Annelies, and this is Abby van Diveren. She works at the Mauritshuis, and did a lot of work on the girl with the pearl earring, and Annelies works at the Rijksmuseum. I visited the laboratories. It's amazing, and imagine me walking with a cup of coffee between those very precious and very expensive paintings, which they were restoring or they were doing research on it. And what they do with the XRF, they scan the picture, and then you get maps like this, because there are maps. A few of the examples. Let's start at the right hand side. You see here the mouse. It's what is the English word of quick? Mercury. Yes, it's mercury, and mercury is used in vermilion, so after research they know exactly which pigments have been used. Now, this is a lead. You find it almost everywhere, because sometimes they mix paint with white paints, and that contains a lot of lead. Probably these are earth pigments. It's iron contained. And before they start restoring paintings, they do this kind of research. This is 2D, but they do also do 3D research to see which layers are used and how the painting is built up. It's fascinating how they do, and very close to what we do, because this is a mapping, and we are making different maps. Now let's switch to from painting to let's say the design. This is they are Nadine Sterk and Lonnie van Rijswijk, Atelier NL, and they have used all kinds of clay. These are some of examples. Most of them are from the Netherlands, one from France, one from Germany, I believe. Originally they had all the same size, but you see that the shrinking of the clays are very different, and you see also that the colors are very different. And what they did is, together with Royal Mucking, they made some earthenware, and you see that they have a lot of attention of the content of the clay. You see the titanium, the iron, and the aluminium contained. It's nicely put on their work, and the mixture of it determines at the end the colors of the earth's work. They also work with glass, and now they collected more than 1,000 samples from all over the world, and they do all kinds of experiments of it. This is a greenish glass, but you see that, depending on the material, on the basic material, you can get a lot of colors out of glass as well. I know that the very green one here contains a lot of iron. If it's bluish, probably it's manganese. And they are still going strong. And Google on their website, beautiful website. They have regularly expositions in their church. Their working place is a large church, beautiful, yeah. Last but not least, Gert Bulet. All the material he uses for glass comes from the earth as well. It's sand, it's soda, it's lime, and but this one comes from a factory. It contains all kind of heavy metals and other stuff to make whatever color of glass you like to have. Beautiful work. Now I told you he was mimicking agate. This is called an overlay technique. It's very, very, very complicated to do. I saw him doing it. It's they are masters of the trade, and it's beautiful to see. Leerdam, you can visit them if you want to. Now, if you want to read more about it, it's a series in Dutch. I'm very sorry for it. In the tijdschrift Bodem, but you can find them on my LinkedIn page as well as PDFs, and there are some more visual artists in the series than I have shown now. They're all available on LinkedIn. Be my guest. And we all know it. It's soil is the soul. And thank you very much for your attention. Okay.
Thank you very much, Theo. The next one. Are there any questions for you?
I have a remark. From 1984 till 2001, I prepared many of these soil monoliths and gave training to soil scientists. And during the process, there was a lot of waste material, and I collected them, and I made a palette of all the different colors. And I heard from Stefan that 2 of the glasses were broken, but down in the store there is still this palette of many colors. And
nice
in our presentation of ISRIC, together with soil science in the soil science meeting in Montpellier in, I think, 2000, we prepared a poster made by
98.
many years ago.
98, yeah.
98?
Yeah.
98. But together with some Brazilian persons, and they had Brazilian children who prepared drawings with the clay, and I took them. I can place them on the table so you can have a
That's very nice.
look
Yeah.
at after the.
Yeah.
Interesting. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And if you don't leave, please have a look at Herman de Vries, his book, his soil rubbings. It's a very valuable book, I know that. And you can find a collection in Digne in France. So if you're, yeah.
Are those the process here studied using the X-ray techniques? Like
Sorry,
they studied the paintings
yeah.
with the X-ray.
Yeah.
Are the profiles here studied in the same way?
Interesting question. No, they haven't been. There was research doing LiDAR to look at the structure of the soil. Most of the colors have been described just using the Mansell book, but we recently purchased also a scanner for that. So that's why also not would be interesting for.
Yeah. Though you might be interested in other elements than
Yeah.
that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
an interesting question.
Yeah.
I was wondering, have any of these colors become Pantone colors or any kind of standard where they use these colors and say, well, we try to duplicate it as accurately as possible? Because if you have Pantone, they could be using,
Yeah.
that's the only system I know, but have they been put in a system, as part of a system like that?
Well, in regular paint, which you put on your house, yes. In visual art, no. If you buy, for instance, Kassler Brown from one company or another, they might be quite different. It's a nuisance, and I know that Monica was complaining about it because, it's Wild West. Yeah.
I was just wondering if they had, marketed a color, tried to duplicate a color as a Pantone and called it, Brazilian Cerrado red or something.
Yeah. Well, I know it from painting. If one day to another, if you try to duplicate the same color, it's quite some work. It's difficult. It's difficult. And having the same painting from a company, even one batch to the other can differ.
I was actually thinking of painting a house with these colors.
Okay.
No, but I'm serious. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I want to use earth colors
Okay.
to paint my house.
Okay.
And I was wondering if any of these become standard colors that you could buy as a house paint. Yeah, like that.
This is also made by Atelier NL, and they have standardized it. Did you see?
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't know where they are available, but these were all earth paintings. Yeah. It's industrially produced, and it's more in the design than in the art region. Although the differences are you can do that. Yeah.
Cherafino, which has loam paints.
Sorry?
There's a brand called Cherafino.
Yeah.
As a part of your answer of your question.
Okay.
They have about 7 very beautiful loam colors from
Okay.
several parts of Europe. So I don't know if it's very environmental friendly to take all those loam, because they also have loam plaster.
Yeah.
They also have loam
Yeah.
paint, which is maybe a little more low impact. It has about 7 colors, and I think they managed to standardize it pretty well for each batch.
Yeah.
And you could take the IKEA approach, David, and do it yourself.
I was thinking of grinding up those blocks onto the coal mine. That would be.
Well,
Yeah.
in Vishosa, Christine Muckler is connected to the Soul Museum there, and they have a project. They go into poor neighborhoods which have all concrete colored houses, and then they go together with the local community. They collect soils from the oxy soils, yellow and red, and then decide what color they want. They mix it with wood glue, and then they paint their houses.
Where is
in
it?
churches,
Where?
in Vishosa, in the Minas Gerais.
Okay. Cool.
Joop, thanks for your interesting presentation. A very nice perspective on colors and soil and art. And there's a much more combination of art and science interface, which is also very exciting, I think, also involving soils. It's very interesting to know that the very early art was produced with soil, that people put their hands on the wall of a cave, and nowadays with all the evolution in materials, technologies, that we go back to or remain with natural materials too. How do you see this art-science interface on the topic of soils? What does it bring for science?
Ooh.
Well, you're in that interface. So
Yeah. Yeah, there are a lot of examples. Well, of course, if you look at the interface which they have at the Rijksmuseum, where they have really, science is very important for them, for restoration projects. By the way, if you do a restoration, it must be it must be taken. It could. How do you say it? It must be taken off. If you make an alteration on a painting, you must be able to undo it. So that's in restoration. And so they use slightly different binders, or they have all kinds of techniques doing that, and their science plays a very important role. But 1 century, 2 centuries ago, it was the other way around, because I don't know if you have ever read the book The Origin of Nature. It's a very interesting piece of work. And the scientists at that time, they had a lot of artists for them to make pictures, drawings of birds, of soils, of mountains. So, 1-2 centuries ago, it was the other way around. Science used the artists, and now it seems to be the other way. On the other hand, yesterday I saw, it's a very well-known picture, they made some kind of bullet-resistant skin by, how do you call it, arachna, spider webs, and they made a skin, and they fired a gun up in it, and it stops the bullet. So if we can alter our skin maybe a little, it would save lives. But you see all kinds of things, and you see in art a lot of art and activism. In all kind, but we know, I don't know what you think about her, but Tinkerbell, for instance, here in the Netherlands, she addresses a lot of problems, and there are many others doing that. If you go to the Biennale in Venice, it has been linked to climate change and whatever. So there is quite some exchange, but I think, sometimes it could be, the links between the two can be tighter, yeah. But it's always the problem of finding money. Yeah.
Maybe when you're in France, in the southern part of France,
Roussillon.
you sure should visit Roussillon.
Yeah.
That is about 40 kilometers east of Avignon. There is the Okra. There's an ochre museum, and they were mining the ochre, and you have many ochre-like colors. And many houses in Roussillon, they are also painted with this ochre outside. And in the do-it-yourself shops, you can buy tints of the pigments, which you can use to paint. That was used for the external part of the house, but
if you're in Roussillon, travel 20 kilometers for a much larger size site. It's not in Roussillon itself, it's big outside.
Yeah.
20, that's the largest one. Yeah.
Time to wrap it up now. Thank you very much for contributing to this lecture. We have something for you.